What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a special show on the Run Your Race show with your host, Akeem.
And Chanelle.
It's time. It is time. The Olympics is here. We've been talking about the show started in February, March. And we knew what year it was going to be. It's an Olympic year. We've been talking about it, and now it's here. I'm sure many of you know that, well, track and field isn't here, but the Olympics is here. Before we even get into things, we want to say thank you to every person that has liked, commented, shared their thoughts in the comments. We really, really appreciate it. We are now just over 200 subscribers. We do this show for you, so you keep coming back now, and we can continue rocking out with these shows. But we definitely want to say thank you for everybody that has supported us, have watched, commented, even if you just ghost watch a little bit. We truly, truly appreciate you. Now, throughout the show, we're going to share our thoughts of the predictions and just give a preview. It's our thoughts, and we would love to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Now, we're not going to be biased here, because if this was a biased type of thing, then, I would have been Canada, Jamaica, and just deal with it straight. And you would have just picked all Americans. All right. But we're not going to do that. So this show, we're going to give our prediction, but we're also going to explain why we think that. But before we get there, what has been your thoughts on the game so far? We watched a little volleyball. We watched some swimming. We watched basketball. What has been your thoughts?
You were really
far?
into the rugby.
Oh yeah, I was. Shout out to France, but shout out to Fiji, man. I think I just they're not really underdogs because they're the two-time defending Olympic champions, but they're a small country, going up against a big magnanimous country like France. It didn't play out for them. But man, I think I might give rugby a try, honestly.
Please. No, too dangerous. Thank you. But swimming, I've been really, really into the swimming. But just seeing all the athletes out there doing their thing, it's getting me excited for track to pop off next week.
Before we get into it, we are going to, if you see us looking down, we're just looking at our phone to try to make sure that we get our prediction and everything lined up, because we did write it down. So we're not cheating the show by no means, we're fully paying attention. So let's get into this. There's been a couple comments in the last video saying they would love to see the preview show, and it's here. And then they would also like to know, do we think any of the records are going to be broken at these games?
World records?
Yes.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
World records, Olympic records, because they're both like the same but different at the same time. So let's get into it. And we just want to say we're doing the hundreds all the way up to the 15s. So that's including 100, 200, 400, 8s, hurdles. It would be way too much to try to do everything.
But shout out to the field.
Shout out to all the field, man. It's love.
Still watching. Shout out to the relays.
And we're going to get there. So let's go here. Let's start off with the, what I would like to think is, the hundreds, the real reason why everybody comes to watch. But that's me. Women's 100. We got a stacked field of women. It can only be 3. So who is your 3 and why?
I'm going with sha'carri for the win. I think it's her race to lose, right? I think she's looked amazing this year. I think if she puts it all together, if she has even just a decent start, it doesn't even have to be great, but if she has a decent start, I don't really think anybody can run with her towards the latter part of the race. So I'm going with sha'carri for the win. I'm actually going with Julian Alfred for second to get that silver. I think she learned from last year, her first year running against the big dogs. I think this year she looks more composed. I think she'll run the rounds a bit smarter. And I think she's going to peak at the right time and bring home the silver for her country. And I'm actually going with Shericka Jackson for the bronze. I don't think this is the same Shericka that we've seen in previous years. So that's why she's bronze for me. I do think that she will sneak in and get that bronze medal for Jamaica, but I just don't think she's in the shape to get gold or silver. Now, I hope she proves me wrong, but I'm going with sha'carri, Julian, and then Sharika.
I am not mad at any of those choices, selection that you've made. You've made good points as to why. And I think when you base things off of how the season has been going, I think that's very fair. So for me, I want to know where Sharika is at, in the sense of when the last time that we saw her, she pulled up. And so we're not sure, was that people have said it was a cramp, it said it was, I just want to know. So I would have loved to see how the rounds go, but I think that's going to be the biggest thing here for me when it comes to this group right here. There is an art to running the rounds. You can't go all out every single round, and the rules have changed. You've told me.
Yeah. The rules are
strange.
Yeah.
So, I'm Sharika through and through. But I do agree with you. I think it's sha'carri Richardson's race to lose. I just don't see anybody right now that can keep up with that top end. However, if she goes out and doesn't start as well with these women, I don't think she can afford that right now, because Jillian is right on her hips as well too, especially when it comes to the fastest times ran so far. But if she gets out with the pack right now, because I don't 100% know what type of shape Sharika is in as far as her body being fully healthy, I'm going to go with sha'carri Richardson winning this gold medal. As far as second place, I got Sharika coming in second place, and I got Julian Alfred coming in third, but I also have a mix of Shelly-Ann coming in third as well too. So Shelly-Ann runs the rounds extremely well. She's going to do what she needs to do in order to get there, but save energy. And one of the tricks of the sprinter trait is there's a way how to win your heat and get top two in your heat, and then go in the slower heat of the semis. And sometimes that plays a factor too. Mm-hmm. Now, in this race, as there is in every race, there's going to be someone who gets upset and may not make the final who we think we should. Mm-hmm. So right now, I think sha'carri Richardson. I got Sharika Jackson second. I have Jillian Alfred and Shelly-Ann fighting for that third place spot.
That's fair.
So that's my choice. I could go down who I think is going to be in the final, but that would take too long, and we're not going to do that. But I personally think the women's 100 is open. I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite, at least for me. I think it's open. So that's our thoughts. We would love to hear your thoughts. Let's go down to the men's 100. How do you think this one goes? Who do you think wins?
I'm going to go with Noah for the win. People can have their opinions about him, but the man shows up. He knows how to win when it matters. Mm-hmm. And that is why I picked him over the world lead, Kashane, because I just have never seen him have to perform on this big level. So yes, he has the world lead, but can he do it when it matters? And we know that Noah can do it when it matters. So I'm going to go with Noah and then Kashane. And then I'm actually going to go with Tebogo. I think that he ran phenomenally in London, and I don't even think that was him peaking. So I think he's going to peak at the right time. I don't even know if he was going all out in London. He seems to be playing with us a little bit. So I think he's going to shock some people for that bronze medal. So I'm going Noah, Kashane Thompson, and then Tebogo.
I think this is another open event, man. The 100, a couple of years back, I think I said to you about Oblique Seville. I said, man, because at one point he jumped out, ran 9.8, and people were like, yo, he came out of nowhere. But I'm like, man, a lot of people thought he was going to win at the last Olympics. And I was just like, man, I just don't think he has the full experience yet. Mm-hmm. Look, when you go to these major championships, major games, like when I was there in 2016, I'm someone who is very even keel. I don't really get too high. I don't really get too low. I'm pretty in the middle every single time. I'm not really an emotional guy.
I know.
It's not about our relationship. It's about the show. Stick to the script. And so I remember in the final of the relay walking down, and I got caught up for a quick second looking at the crowd and the atmosphere, and I'm just like, holy crap, there's a lot of people here. But then you have to snap back, and I think Oblique Seville, that's going to be a great thing for him this time around. We know what Oblique possibly could do. He's been there before. He's finished fourth. Nobody wants to be there. Noah Lyles is the defending world champ. He knows how to perform. The big mystery is, what is Kashane going to do? Right. How is he going to handle these rounds? Now, I will say, from the races that I've seen of Kashane, it always seems like he's working on something. It seems like his coach, Jamaican Trial, saying, yo, run the first 40, 50 hard and then look up and see where you are and cruise on through. When he ran, I think over in Italy, I believe it was, it looked like he was doing the same thing. So I think it's just going to be, for me, how he handles the nerve. I think this is a young man that can go 9-6, in my opinion. So even though knowing that we don't know how he's going to handle the nerves, he seems cool, he seems calm, he seems collected. I'm going Kashane Thompson to win the men's 100. I think he's going to be Olympic champ. I think Noah Lyles, I think it's going to be Noah Lyles second or Oblique Seville second. And whoever gets second, the other person is going to get third. Okay. So I have Oblique, Noah Lyles, and I have Kashane Thompson in that medal contention, but I do have Kashane winning. And it's so hard to pick because you're leaving out Fred Curley, Akani Simbini, who knows how to make final. I'm even going to throw in there my man Emmanuel Matadi. Marcel Jacobs has been running well. You can't count out Andre. Andre knows how to make. So there's so many. Ferdinand Omanyala's there. Kenny Benerick, who, when this comes out, a lot of people are probably saying, man, y'all leaving him out. So it's so much competition. That's why I say it's very, very open, but there can only be three. And one of those reasons, one of those things that's going to make the biggest difference is who handles the rounds well and who handles the nerves. That's going to be two components. Oh, man.
Look at that. The passion's coming out.
Hey, man, let's keep things pushing. Let's go over to the women's 200. Who do you have in this one here?
I'm going to go with Gabby Thomas. Okay. And I feel like I'm picking all Americans, but
no bias, right?
I promise. I truly do think that these people are the ones to win. Gabby, if she puts it together, she's the one to beat. I just think she proved that in London. She had a terrible start and still pulled out the win. Again, Sharika, for me, is not even in my top three, which I know is going to get me a lot of slack in the comments, but we just don't know where she's at. Is she healthy? So because of that asterisk, I left her off the top three. And second, I'm going with Julian Alfred. Again, I think she learned from last year, that being her first year on the big scene. And I just think she's going to put it together based off what we've seen all year.
Yeah, for sure.
And actually, this may shock a lot of people, but I'm going with Mackenzie Long for that third spot. I think she's running for a bigger purpose. She's running for her mom. She's running with a little chip on her shoulder, not making that 100-meter team for Team USA. So I do think that Mackenzie Long will pull it together, shock some people, and get that bronze medal in the women's 200.
I don't agree with all of what you said, but I can see, I'm a type of person where I like to understand where a person's coming from. I can understand why you think that, as I hope that people can understand how I came to mine. So for the women's 200, again, can only be three medals, man. I have Sharika winning this. I have her winning. You can make more mistakes in the 2 and still come on and still find a way to win. In the 100, you can't make too many mistakes. It's just not enough real estate. And from Sharika, she ran 21.4 and looked disgusted at the fact that she did not break the record the last time we saw her at World Champs. So from what I saw in Jamaica, that's the last thing that we can kind of base it off of. From what I saw in Jamaica, she ran a hard 100 and just jogged the rest and still ran 22.2 into a headwind. So until the champ is defeated, I'm going with the champ. So I think Sharika is going to win. Second, I have Gabby Thomas. I think she's proven that I can win whether I'm in front. I can win whether I'm behind. As long as I'm in the race and with the pack, I believe I can still win, or at least come with the medal contention. She has shown that, proven that, and she's done that. So it's hard not to think that she's not going to be up there for medal contention. Now, my third spot, it's a toss-up, man. And I think my second place prediction and my third, because I sometimes got to put two women in there. They all train together. I'm talking about Julian Alfred for that third place spot, and Dina Asher-Smith. If Dina runs that curve like she did when she was in the UK and she finishes, she might even get second. Like, she was blowing everybody out the water with that curve run. If she can hold that, it's over with. So if she can do that again, Jillian, if she can do that again, I believe that third place spot could go to any of those women, Jillian or Dina Asher-Smith. So those are my top three. Those are Chanelle's top three. Let us know who your top threes are. And then let's go to the men's side of things. How do you have this one going?
It's hard to not pick Noah. There's not much to say. It's hard not to pick the man. He, like I said about the 100, he knows how to perform. He's a performer.
Yeah.
He loves the big stage. He loves the limelight. He's going to show up. The 200 is his better event. And I really don't see anyone coming and beating him in the 200. I do see his teammate, Kenny Bednarek, coming in second and running on his hip like he did at the U.S. trials. And in that third spot, I see Tebogo getting bronze. So I'm going Lyles, Bednarek, and Tebogo.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to think that Noah isn't going to win this. I mean, how he has ran, how consistently he has ran, and the 200 being his better event. I mean, we haven't seen 19.3 since Bolt. We've seen 19.5s Tebogo, but we haven't seen 19.3. And so for me, it's Noah Lyles' race to beat. And that's me saying, Andre's in this race. He's the defending Olympic champ. So I think Noah's going to win. I got him running to win there. Second place, I think it's going to be Kenny Bednarek. 19.5 is 19.5. I mean, that's going to get you something. That's going to get you. You can't ignore that. And he seems like he's in that silent assassin mentality where he's just like, okay, I think it'll work in his favor if he can see where Noah is. So that way he can kind of gauge, okay, I'm only this far behind or this maybe in front. But I think if Noah is behind him, I think that could be trouble. But we'll talk about that later. So I have Noah winning with Kenny Bednarek coming in second. And look, third place is a toss-up between, for me, Andre DeGrasse, the defending champ, and Letsile Tebogo. And I think Tebogo could win, honestly. He's ran 19.5 as well, too. So he knows what that feels like, but they're just going to have to go faster. And so this is also a field where, we left off Arian Knighton, Zarnell Hughes. So there's a lot of people that we kind of left off here, but any of those guys could come up and medal. But I do think it's Noah's race to lose. But, I think we're going to see some fast times. So, yeah, that's our 200s. Man, how are we doing so far? We're doing all right?
Yeah, I think so. Not always agreeing, but hey, it's our opinion, right?
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough because, you just got to respect everybody. We want to – it's going to be fast regardless. Let's keep things pushing to the women's 400 meters, man. How do you think this one goes?
I want you to go first this one because I think we're very similar here.
So. Okay, so for me, I'm a firm believer, man. If you are going to beat a champ, you got to beat the champ. And we can only go off based on who the last world champ is. And it's hard not to think Morel Di Paulino is going to, I think she's the one to beat right now. Yeah, she does not have the fastest time in the world. She does not. But she has been getting faster every single time. And every time she's faced those big dogs, with the exception of Nikisha Price, I believe she raced Kazmiri a couple times. She's beaten them, and I just think she's the one to beat right now until proven otherwise. However, someone who I believe can beat her and who is the number one world lead right now is Nikisha Price. And the question is, like, you got to run these fours well. And I just think after running so many races, the collegiate system, open fours, 4x4s, 200s, going to Jamaican trials, running heats there, then going over to Europe. She's ran a lot, and that body has got to be getting tired at some point. And I think even though she just ran 48 and dropped a wicked bullet, does she have another one of those left? It's going to take another one of those to win here. I do think she's fit. I believe that she can win, but the question for me is how much of those bullets does she have left, and how is she going to handle those rounds? So I think she's going to get a second place. Now, third place, I have Kazmiri. I got to have another person. Kazmiri and Rihazadat Adeleke, I think, are going to be fighting for that third place spot. Again, I know Kazmiri has ran 48-8, 48-9, somewhere there. Rihazadat has ran 49-0. I think is close. And I think it's going to be who is going to handle the rounds a little bit better. And that's a big thing for me, man. I think it's going to be good. I think we could possibly see like a 48 low, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's my thoughts.
And this is our first time agreeing.
Okay.
And the only reason I have Paulino over Price is what you said. Price, her legs, she just has so much running in her legs. And, it's just hard coming off of that collegiate season. And she has to run rounds. And so I think Paulino, we know Paulino is a lot fresher. And like you said, she's the champ and she's hard to beat. And so I'm going with Paulino, I'm going with Price, and I'm also going with Kazmiri. She's having a phenomenal season, and I think she's just going to peak at the right time. So our first time agreeing, the women's 400 meter.
I think it's the first and probably the last time. Let's keep things going. Let's go to the men's side of things. How do you have this one?
Oh, this one was the hardest one for me. I think this is wide open, to be honest.
I agree.
So I went with Quincy Hall for the win. I just like how his season has progressed. And I think he is he's just a dog, man. He just has that it factor where he knows how to dig deep and get the win. He proved it at the US trials. And so I think he's going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I'm going with Quincy Hall. I'm actually going to go with Doom, the indoor champion.
Big Alexander Doom.
Obviously, he knows how to win as well, coming off that world indoor title, having a great year himself. I think he will pull through for silver, and I'm actually going to go with Hudson Smith for the bronze. The way he looked in London, I mean, it's a little different doing it at home versus doing it at the Olympics.
100%.
So if he can put together a final like that, he will walk away with a medal. So I'm going with Hudson Smith for the bronze.
Very well said. Very well said. And again, Hudson Smith is the fastest man in the world right now in the 400 meters. Okay, so for me, and I'm looking at my list and I'm looking hard, like I'm still thinking, man, I think it's tough. There's so many different, I think it's open. I think some of these guys are tired. I think some are fresher than the others. So I'm going to say Michael Norman gets it done. I like what he said after US champs. He said, man, like I got to go back and fix some things immediately. As a matter of fact, in the next couple of days, I'm going back to practice. I like that mentality. And I say that because he knows he runs the rounds really well.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes the execution, the final, he tries to do a little bit more than what he needs to, but he runs the rounds very well. And the reason why I didn't have Quincy Hall higher up here is because he seems like a guy to me that's going to go hard every single round. And I love that mentality. But at these games, man, like unless you're on something, the human body is going to regress a little bit.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm just like, yeah, he's got, as you said, that dog mentality. But we got to run rounds in, maybe a dolphin mentality a little bit, right? Like we got to save it a little bit. So I think Michael Norman, man, I think he comes on, and he's also the one that has ran that 43.6.
Okay.
So he knows what that feels like. So again, if it was up to me and I was being biased, I want Karani James to win all day, every day. I think he's going to make the final, but I don't know what type of shape that he's fully in. So second place for me is someone who I don't even think he's in the top 7 right now, times wise. I could be wrong. Maybe he might be number 7. Stephen Gardner in the Bahamas. He's ran 44.3 so far, but he hasn't raced a lot. He's still fresh. He's been an Olympic champ before, so he knows what it takes. And that man is tall, beautiful runner. And I think he is going to be someone that I think could win it because he runs the rounds very well. And I think he's going to be peaking at the right time. So third place for me, man, I know I don't try to have a couple people. I try to have one. I do my best, but it's just hard. How can you just put one?
Because there's 3 medals. There's not 4 medals.
There is, but there's possibilities. So third place, man, I got a 3-way tie, man. I got Quincy Hall, I got Matthew Hudson Smith, and I got Alexander Doom.
So my 3 are your third.
Yeah. Wow. Look, that's been the biggest question for me. I don't doubt if Quincy Hall can be Olympic champ. Absolutely, he can. But I don't know how he's going to handle the rounds. I'm not confident that he's going to be able to back off enough to save his legs a little bit. And Matthew Hudson Smith, man, that 43, man, you knew the potential. And when you're running what he did, you're now got a target on your back. And sometimes that target is heavy.
Yeah.
And so we want to see how he's going to run the rounds. We want to see what his body's going to feel like. When you run 43 personal best, your body is not going to respond that quickly right away. But we saw what he can do if everything clicks. He's a dangerous guy, man. Big, powerful runner. And then, I think Alexander Doom. I think this guy's a dark horse. 44.10 indoor champ. You can't tell this man nothing. Like, he believes that he can win because he's done it before.
Yeah.
Indoors, but he's ran even faster outdoors. So I think the 4 is open, man. I think it's going to be a very good race. I think it's going to be fast. And I also I want to see Karani medal. I hope he can get in there as well too. So our predictions. Let's keep things going to your specialty event. Let's go to the women's 8. Who's on the podium?
Oh, you got to go with Hodgkinson. Anybody who's not picking her, I think is a little crazy after what we saw last week in London. Just phenomenal. And it's definitely her race to lose. Now, second and third, I think will be a battle. I'm going to go with Mary Moraa from Kenya. She can finish. And I think it's going to come down to a fast finish, a fast last 75 meters. And she's shown before that she can do that. So I'm going to have to go with her. And then my third place is Jemariki. She was on Hodgkinson's hip in London running, I want to say 155.
Yeah, 155. Throwing out 155.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Riki. She can finish as well. She has some 1,500 meter strength. So she's a closer. I think I don't know how fast it's going to be. I think it may be a little bit more tactical than fast, but I'm going to go Hodgkinson, Moraa, and Riki.
What's the world record here? 153?
Yeah, it's not happening.
I'm looking at my list, and I'm going to go the same with you. Originally I had Jemariki second place, but man, that Mary Moraa, man, she knows how to just get in there. She runs a very smart race. She can slow it down and you get sucked into running her race. And then all of a sudden she takes off on you because she's got that 400 meter 50-point speed as well too. Keely doesn't have 50 speed. She's fast, but none of these other women have that 400 meter speed. So she could slow it down, but it's hard to not think that Keely Hodgkinson, after what she's ran, is not going. She's the favorite. But how they handle the rounds, as we've talked about, you can't go 154 First round, second round?
Yeah, no.
Because they ran that time in one round.
Exactly.
So how you handle the rounds. But I'm with you on how this one plays out. Kaylee Hodgkinson, Mary Mara, and Gemma Reekie. I think the UK go 1 and 3. But
Yeah, it was hard for me not to pick an American woman, but I almost picked Akins for third because she's a dog too. She finishes strong, but when we saw Reekie run that 155, it's hard for me to not pick her.
Yeah, it's like when your body has hit certain threshold, it's there. I can tap into it if everything goes according to how I want it to. So look, I'm looking forward to this one. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Let's go to the men's side. Who's on the podium?
Well, Sajati has been making 141 look easy.
Shut up with Sajati, man.
So I do believe he'll take home the gold. I think Wenyoni is going to be right there. I think it will come down to a battle between those two, and I believe the third position is a little open for me.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go with Marco Arap.
Big up Arap, man. Yes.
He knows how to win. He didn't look too good in his last 800. I think it was in Monaco. Didn't look too great. That could have been the plane ride. That could have been training. We don't know what that was, but when it matters, he showed that he knows how to show up last year by taking that world title. And so I do think that he squeezes in there for bronze.
Yeah. And we've seen Arap, man. He can run like 142 by himself in the rain, in the mudslide, in a hurricane. That man's 142 all day, but he's gonna need to run a little bit more. So for me, I have the same Sajati one. I mean, I'm not gonna go against the man. We've seen too much. Unless he's having an off day. He was on 141 like 3 or 4 times. That's more than the whole field already, with the exception of Wenyoni, I believe. But Sajati got that kick, man. And I don't know, that man is nice right now when he's confident. So I got Sajati, Wenyoni second. And then third place, I wanted to go with Marco Arap. But I got to go with Tua because, look, we saw, if you haven't seen it already, man, the French rugby sevens team, how they were playing and that crowd was moving and how extra motivated and inspired they seem. Fiji is the defending Olympic champ 2 years in a row. So 8 years, right? And then this time around, that French team, man, Tua is going to run with a level of confidence and belief. And when you are running in front of your home crowd, man, you just feel something and you muster up some of that energy, inertia, and it goes underneath your skin and it just helps you kick. And so I want Arap to be in there, man, but I think that hometown, he might even win.
Too far.
He might even win. Did I sell that good? I thought I sold inertia.
It's great. It's great.
College words. But yeah, that's our top 3. This is going to be a fast race. Again, I'm surprised that you didn't pick Bryce Hoppel to be in this as well, too, or Kessler. And I like Hobbs Kessler.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not picking 5 like you. I picked 3.
That was a shot, and because of that, we're moving forward to the next discipline, women's 15.
Oh, shout out to Faith, man. Faith Kipyegon. She is going to seal the deal like she always does. I mean, if I had $1 million to bet, I would bet on Faith. Right? So Faith gets the gold. She can win from the back, from the front, from the middle. She can close a 15 in like 157. I don't understand. I'll never understand, but she is amazing. So I'm going with Faith. Second place, I think it's hard not to pick Jessica Hall from Australia. The way she hung on to Faith, even Faith was looking back like, yo, who is still with me? And it was Jessica Hall. So her confidence is through the roof. She came back and ran like the 2000 meter world record after that. So she's just, her confidence is like, good. Yeah, it's like it's never been. So And I'm gonna go with Gudolf Sagai for that third place. The only reason I picked Hall above Sagai is because Sagai is also running the 5,000 meters, and so she's gonna have that on her legs. Now Faith is running the 5,000 meters as well, but that's like a warm up for her. It doesn't really seem to bother her. But I am gonna go Kipyegon, Hall, and Gudolf Sagai.
Yo, how can you go against Faith?
I can't.
So I'm gonna go to my second place. I actually have Gudolf Sagai, but I could be biased because I just like her.
You like Gudolf Sagai, yes, you do.
But also, she's got the second fastest time in the world right now. But man, that Jessica Hall, man, she got something.
Yeah.
And she could slide in for that second place as well too, because the way how she was on, just latching herself to Faith. And the way how she was able to stick with Faith, that's got to make you feel good, especially up here.
Mm-hmm.
You always believe that your body is going to be put in the best shape by your coaches and everything. And then when it actually happens, to get it up here, so she could get second, she could get third, but I just don't see anybody beating Faith. And I know nothing is guaranteed,
right.
But gosh, you see Faith's last run? Come on, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
Let's go over to the men's 15, which is a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, and this is the one I'm most looking forward to because we've had a little bit of junk talk between one doesn't really talk, but Ingebrigtsen, he's not afraid to say, I'm the best, I'm the one to beat. But I actually have Josh Kerr beating him. I have Kerr for the win. I think Ingebrigtsen is going to lead the race, and I think Kerr is just going to outkick him. And that's just how I think it's going to go. But I do have Ingebrigtsen in there for the silver, and I have the American Nugis coming in there. Is Kessler running the 15?
Better believe it.
I'm still going to go with Nugis. He's been at this level. He's hungry. He's ready. So I'm going Kerr, Ingebrigtsen, Nugis.
I'm a big Ingebrigtsen guy, man. Big up the one named Ingebrigtsen. I'm looking at my list, and I don't have too much different from you, except for the fact that I do have Ingebrigtsen winning. I really liked how he looked in his last round, in his last race out. And I personally think if there's any of the records that are going to be broken, I think this one could be one of the ones.
Wow.
3:26 flat is the record here. And I think Ingebrigtsen was close by himself. I think with Kerr is here, I just hope he doesn't get caught up in running Kerr's race and he forgets to run his own. Mm-hmm. But I think Ingebrigtsen, I think he's going to come. I think he's going to run fast. If he doesn't win, he's never going to hear the end of this, man. So I think he just has to come in and run his race and just come in and just do his thing. But I like Ingebrigtsen. I like Kerr second place, and I like Nuguse third. I did not pick a third person here. So
you're going off of me.
Give me credit for that one. Yeah. So we just swapped. You have Kerr winning. I have Ingebrigtsen winning.
Okay.
But I think for me, this could be one of the records that could possibly be broken. I also think the men's 8 could also possibly be broken as well too. But let's keep things pushing. Let's go over to the women's hurdle, arguably one of the most open, most competitive disciplines in the sport today. Who is on the podium?
I am going with Camacho Quinn for the win. I think she has not had to peak yet. She's just coming along. She's winning. She's consistent. And I think she's going to have the race of her life in that final to take home the win. She's composed. She's confident. She has a lot of races under her legs, but she doesn't have like the US trials under her legs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go with Camacho Quinn. I'm going to go with Toby Amosan for silver.
I mean, she's the record holder, right? So.
Yes. She knows, obviously, as the record holder, how to run fast, how to pull through when it matters. I like her. She was a sleeper when she ran that world record. She shocked the world. And so it's hard not to pick her to not only make the final, but to pull through to win a medal. So I'm going with her for silver. And I'm actually going to go with one of the Americans for the third spot. I think the Americans, they just had to do so much at the trials just to get on the team.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they will pull through for gold or silver, but I do believe one of them will pull through for bronze. And I mean, it could be any of them, but I'm just going to go with Grace Stark. I like how she looks this season. And I think if Coach Holloway knows, even though she's a collegiate athlete, Coach Holloway knows how to get his athletes to peak at the right time. So I'm going to go with Stark, but it really could be any of the American women in that third spot.
And the thing with this event too is like anybody could win this because you hit a hurdle. You may not get a chance to get over that. The next hurdle, I think this is one of the most open events there. I'm going to go with who I believe has been most consistent under the pressure, under the duress from what we've seen so far. I'm going Camacho Quinn, same like you, to win. And then second place, I think she's finding her confidence, finding her stride. And she's ran extremely well in Jamaican trials, and I think she's starting to get it. I'm talking about Akira Nugent. I think she's going to put together another spectacular series. I think she handles the rounds well. And when you run 12-2, I mean, it puts you in that seat. Now, Masai Russell, she has ran 12-2 as well, too. So my third place, you would think because I said Masai Russell has run 12-2 that she's going to get third. And I believe Masai could win. But I'm going back to what I said about Tual in the 800 and going to that French spirit in the atmosphere. I think Serene Samba Mayala, I think she's going to get that bronze medal.
Wow.
She has been pretty consistent throughout this season. She's healthy. She's feeling good. She's in front of the home crowd. And I think if she wins a medal here, man, I think it's going to take her stardom where she is even that much greater. It's so tough to pick just one because, I like Toby Amusan, consistent UI. She hasn't been as consistent as the other girls, but she does know how to show up.
Yep.
You talk about Masai Russell, Grace Stark,
Alacia
Johnson. She's an extreme competitor. Nadine Visser. Like, there's so much. Any of these women can win.
Yeah. This one was hard.
It was very hard because the more I talk about it, I might change all three of my picks.
Tomorrow, they might be different.
It might be three more. So because of that, we got to move forward and talk about the men's 110s. Who's on the podium?
I'm actually going with an American sweep. I'm going to say that these three men, Grant, Crittenden, and Roberts, the same order that they did at the U.S. trials, is I believe they will get gold, silver, and bronze here in Paris. I don't really know why. I think they just look so good at the U.S. trials. And I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, that they are the only three men this year under 13. That's different. That's a different level. And so if they can repeat what they did at the trials, which I believe they can, I'm going America sweep. My broom.
That's your broom. That's not bad. That's not bad. Look, I mean, it's hard to, when you're looking at things like on paper, it's hard not to think that they aren't going to sweep. They have the three fastest time in the world. And as you said, the only men this year to break 13 seconds. So for me, I'm going Grant Holloway. I think he has been the most consistent. And he's starting to, every time he touches the track now, he's starting to be the one to say, man, it could go sub 13. Put together some real nice 13.0s. He's broken 13 seconds. So for me, I think he is going to win. I think it's his gold. Now, second place, I'm going with Daniel Roberts for second place. And I wanted to put Freddie Crittenden in there, but I think Daniel Roberts has been able to handle the spotlight a little bit better, like these pressure moments, because he's gotten a world medal, if I remember correctly. So I just think he can handle it a little bit better so far until we see different.
Okay.
But I like to look at the history of a person and then make that decision. So third place for me, I got to go with the big man, Ansel Parchment. I always say, and I'm sure many of you probably say the same thing, if Parchy just got a better start, he would be that world record, I think, is in jeopardy almost every time. He's a big, tall guy, big sprinter, powerful, efficient, but he comes on late.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're racing a guy like Grant Holloway, who eliminates everybody in the first 40, 50, you have to be around him in order to get him. I think Parchi can get him, but Parchi got to get a better start.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been hearing that probably his whole career. But if there's anybody to win this whole thing, apart from Grant, Daniel, Freddie, I think it could be Parchi. Again, Sasha is there as well too. He's French.
Mm-hmm.
He could ride that atmosphere. But those are my three. Again, another tough one to pick. Let's keep things moving. Let's go to the women's 400-meter hurdles.
This is the one. I know we had a question in our comments. Will any world records be broken? I think this is the one where it's going to take a world record to win. Femke is going to push Sydney to an extremely fast time. I do have Sydney taking the win, but it's going to be close. Femke is not going to make it easy for her. Third spot was a little tough for me, but I'm gonna go with Tia Jones. I liked how she looked at the US trials, and I think she has a 51 high in her legs if she's not too tired from the collegiate season. Like that?
Yeah. It's fair. It's hard not to look. I'm not going against Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone until I see her beat. So Sydney won. Femke 2, and my third place, I think our third spot is open, but I'm going with Rochelle Clayton. I really liked how she ran at Jamaican trials. Coming off of that, she put together another 53-second run. I think right now where she's got a good level of confidence, she's running well, and I think she is going to bring home that third place. I think she's going to run a personal best. I think Femke and Sydney are going to go sub 51, and I think Rochelle Clayton might go 51. I think it's going to be fast, but those are my top three. But it's hard. You can't really go against Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, man, until you see her lose, and we have not seen her lose in a while. Mm-hmm. And I think that world record is getting lowered again.
Same.
Let's keep things pushing to the men's 400-meter hurdles. How do you think this one goes? Who is on the podium?
I think we see it the same way we saw Monaco. I thought that was a little preview of what we're going to see in Paris. I think Rai has figured out how to beat Warholm, and I think if he goes in there and just does his thing, he says he just has to focus on himself and run his race. So if he does that, I think he will come out on top and get that gold medal that he so desperately wants. I think Warholm comes through for the silver right on Rai's hip, and I think Dos Santos comes through for the bronze.
I'm going to go with that as well, too. I think Rai, he looks so much smoother this time around than we've seen him many times before. And we know one of those things when it comes to hurdles is to be able to get over the hurdles and not lose your rhythm or your cadence. And he's shown that, man, I can be consistent from the first one all the way to the end. I think Karsten, honestly, I think he's feeling a little bit of pressure. I think he's looking over a little bit once he gets to a certain point to see where everybody's at. And when you're looking over to see where everybody's at, especially in that last 100 meters, 80 meters, a little bit of doubt there. And Dos Santos, I think he could win, but I don't know. I think that third place is going to be his again. And I think these men are going to go under 47 seconds. At least two of them are. Again, Dos Santos is world champ, so you can't never count him out. But I think it's those guys' races to lose. So I have Rai, Karsten, Dos Santos, just like you.
We agreed again.
So that's two out of how many other? Man, so like I enjoyed that. What do you think about that? That was good?
I thought so. Again, these are our predictions, our opinions. We want to hear feedback. We want to hear what you guys think. But we're just excited. We're excited for the track and field part of the Paris Olympics to kick off.
And if there's anything else that you guys would like us to touch on and discuss for our next show, then please let us know in the comment section below. Any questions that you may have, let us know in the comments and we'll discuss it on the show in real time. again, I'm looking forward, like you, how the Olympics is going to go. It's an exciting time. It's on every station. So, branch out a little bit. Don't just watch track, take everything in. But the track and field, man, it's going to be wicked. It's going to be blazing. It's going to be electrifying.
Be some shockers.
And there will be some people who don't make the final that you think will.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Again, if we were talking about all of the events, it would be a 2-hour show. We don't want it to be a 2-hour show. But we are definitely going to be watching the fields. We're going to be watching all of that. And, we didn't talk relays as well, too, but that'll come. So thank you again for taking the time to check out the show. If you've made it this far all the way to the end, definitely subscribe to the channel before you go. Let us know your thoughts. We want to hear from you. And we thank each of you for taking the time to support the show in any capacity. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. Until next time, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.